God bless football, Billy Gill.
God bless football, Stugotz.
Well, thank you, Billy. We have a nice trip coming up this weekend. You and I together going on vacation. Me and you to Chicago, courtesy of our friends over at Smirnoff. I'm very excited.
We're slowly traveling the country together, Stugotz. We're seeing all these different cities going around the world. I mean, not really the world. It's really just the U.S. We should do an international thing. Like, let's go to the Caribbean. Let's tell Smirnoff, hey, you know what? We want to cover week 5 of the NFL, but we want to do it from Barbados.
All right.
Do you think they'll go for that?
I don't know. I mean, this weekend would have. I'm happy to go to Chicago. I'm happy to go do what we're doing, but it would have been a good weekend to try that out in England for the Sam Darnold revenge game against the Jets. Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Wow. Would you have gone to England?
No.
Okay.
I would have gone to with you. I would have gone to England. Yes, I would have.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it'd be fun. That's what.
What would we have done in England?
Watch football. I don't know. Same thing I do here.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have to go all the way to England, another continent, to do it, but it just seems fun. What would we do? I don't know. What do you do in London? Like shopping, have some food, drink some beers, you know?
Yeah. You mentioned it earlier, but guys, God Bless Football is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. If you're going to be in the Chicago area, you can come hang out with us for the Bears and the Panthers game, and really all the games. We're going to be there at noon on Sunday. So come on by. Joe's on weed if you want to see us live in Chicago, kind of putting on a show for you guys throughout the game. And I guess, Stugotz, you're already going to be reacting to the London game between the Vikings and your Jets.
Yeah, I'll be there early because I'm assuming Mikey A will be there with me, but the Jets play the Vikings. I'm going to watch that game. We'll have the 1 o'clock games for you, Carolina and Chicago, which is noon Central out in Chicago. But I'm excited, Billy. I'm going to show you the town, man. That's my town. Chicago's like my second home, the Windy City. I love it. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Don't look now. New game. Don't look now. We're a quarter of the way through the NFL season. How did this happen? How are we by week 5 already?
I don't know. It's a sprint, man. It really is. I would say baseball takes forever to get through its regular season, and football just flies by, man. It really does.
Yeah. Baseball also, like, it's crazy because, like, half the teams that made the playoffs are already eliminated from the playoffs after 2 days.
I know.
Yeah.
What is baseball going to figure out? God bless baseball, but what is baseball going to figure out that they need to shorten the regular season and expand the postseason? Because those are the games we care about. That's it. Period. End of discussion. More postseason games, Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Okay. No one cares about that today here, though. This is God Bless Football, and we have a lot to get to. We have Chris Sims, who's going to join us. We have Mike Golic, who's going to join us. We have your Stu Ya Gotz picks. We have Terrell Davis, who's going to join us, which is exciting, a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
How many Hall of Famers have we had on this show? We had Baselli.
Yeah.
We've had Terrell Davis now.
There's a lot. We've had a lot of Hall of Famers on the show. I don't have the number off the top of my head. Fuentes, do you have a number off the top of your head?
I don't.
Not Golic and not Chris Sims.
Not Golic, not Sims.
Hall of Famers in our hearts.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Golic's in a Wrestling Hall of Fame and the Radio Hall of Fame. So
I meant to
count those.
I meant to run an idea by you, Billy. Okay, and I'm certain you have to promote our daily fantasy game over at DraftKings here in a second. We'll get to Golic, we'll get to Sims, we'll get to all the football analysis in a second. I want a God Bless Football Hall of Fame. How about that? You like that? We have a ceremony every year. I think it would be great. I really do.
Do we let one person in every year? Or is it based on how they performed that year, or how does our Hall of Fame work?
I think commitment to the show, loyalty to the show. Doesn't matter what they do on the field or if they were great on the field. It matters what they do for us. And so I'm thinking So I'm thinking, Mojo, his commitment to the show, that's a guy that I can see getting into the Hall of Fame. We got to figure this out. It's just an idea. I'm laying the groundwork. We probably need a committee, and then we need an enshrinement ceremony.
Yeah. Well, and we also need an award, right? Like we need our own jacket or our own bust or whatever. Like we need something to give the person. And I feel like, and there has to be a number, right? Like, I don't know if it's one, maybe only 2 people get in every year. But it can't be everybody, because then what's going to happen? Okay, we're going to enshrine Golic, and we're going to enshrine Chris Sims, and we're going to enshrine and then everybody that's expecting to get in is going to get in. You know what I mean? I would nominate. I would nominate Mattress Mac.
Oh, wow. He's been great. You're right. First ballot Hall of Famer. No, I am totally.
Only one appearance, though.
Right. Yeah, but it was a Hall of Fame appearance. I mean, was it not? I like the idea of giving them golden headphones. How about that?
Oh.
Or a golden microphone.
Headphones.
Yeah.
Wow. Headphones, I think, might be cheaper. The microphones we use are kind of expensive. And then we're going to, spray paint them gold? Ooh, wait. How about this? Okay. New idea. And I don't know why we're doing this. New idea. Every year we have a Hall of Famer and they get the golden microphone. So every time they join us, they're on their golden microphone Hall of Fame. But the next year when someone else gets in, they get the golden microphone.
Yes. Yes, I love it. You're right.
Did you mention our weekly fantasy game? Because it's presented by Smirnoff. You guessed it. The world's #1 vodka. Please drink responsibly. If you guys want to compete against us, $3 buy-in. Go to dkng.co/Smirnoff. Get your picks in before 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, and you can compete against us. 1 o'clock games, 4 o'clock games. And Stugotz, we need to set a mental note. We need to get our picks in by 12 o'clock Central Time on Sunday because we're going to be in a different time zone for the first time. So we can't dilly-dally. We need to get those picks in earlier this week.
Yeah, I know. It's my home away from home. You know I didn't mention the daily fantasy game, and you still promoted it anyway. I mean...
You said it earlier.
I did.
Who would you put in? Wait, real quick before we go to Golic. Who would you nominate? Like, who would be your nominee for the Hall of Fame this year?
This is a great question for the God Bless Football Hall of Fame. Fuentes, who would be your? No, it's not Fuentes. Okay, Billy's right. You got to drag this on. You don't just let Golic in and Sims in the same year. You want to create a buzz. You got to keep Golic or Sims waiting, much the way the NFL Hall of Fame kept Tony Baselli waiting. Fuentes, who do you think should be? Think of all the people we've had on the show. It should not be Golic. It should not be Sims. They should not be part of the first class. They have to wait.
Yeah.
Well, I would put Golic in the first class. He's just so nice.
No.
I would say strong nominee, Nitro.
Oh, wow.
Strong nominee.
Nitro.
Wow.
Or Mike Wright, perhaps?
Mike Wright for putting up with the Nitro question.
Well, I was thinking of Mike Golic Jr. going in first.
I was thinking K-Funk.
No, K-Funk can never get in.
We'll never hear the end of it.
No. I'd put in like Mike Rallis before K-Funk, and he's been on 2 episodes.
Lacey.
Oh, the AC company. You know what? That might be our first.
If you don't know who Lacey is, Lacey is a bartender at a strip club in Tampa who also owns an air conditioning company. And she made 2 appearances on the show. They were glorious appearances. That is how we introduce the God Bless Football Hall of Fame, because she is what our show is all about.
And don't forget,
but
Mrs. Schefter.
Oh, Mrs. Shefty.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But also Lacey now lives in Canada, and I think we've lost access to her.
Right.
So.
All right, Mrs. Schefter's a good one. And Mr. Schefter's leg.
Ooh, okay. I like it. This is a good Hall of Fame.
Thank you. All right.
It's really shaping up.
It is. It's something we discuss and we'll never finish.
Correct. Let's go to Golic.
We're rolling right now, Mike, just so you know. It's okay.
Well, I figured you were.
Roll with it.
Yeah, just play with the TV, see if he can figure it out. I mean,
Mike, a good year for the armed services, huh?
Notre Dame still got to play him.
Yeah, all right. Take 2 spots in the first BCS. You never know.
Right. What are you going to do? What's the
let me tell you what.
Right.
I'm going to have a hammy injury when you guys do your rankings.
Oh, are you really?
Wow, because of the armed services. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez. Message sent.
You don't want to see them in the playoff, huh?
Seems as though he doesn't want
No, I do want to see them in the playoff. It has nothing to do with the armed service. It has to do with every other friggin' team you're going to pick.
Oh. Ouch.
But Army Navy, it's going to be like, if they continue this, Mike, that was once a storied game with great players. I mean, can you imagine Army Navy and they're playing for a spot in the playoff? That's going to be amazing.
I don't think they will. I think it'll be Boise State and UNLV that are playing for a spot because they play one another and they're both ranked right now. So I think the winner of that game really kind of has the inside track.
Which team has surprised you the most, Mike, thus far in college?
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee is playing extremely well. They're probably the biggest surprise to me.
Not Penn
Miami.
State. Yeah,
I mean, the U is now they got they kind of skirted one against Virginia Tech.
Kind of.
That's for sure.
Right.
But their schedule is so favorable the rest of the way that I think they'll end up winning. Now they'll probably play Clemson for the title, and Clemson's offense has found its footing. Their defense is always tough, but the offense has found its footing. So it could be Miami and Clemson for the ACC championship in that automatic spot.
The only other spot I could see the Canes losing maybe is at Louisville, a team that Notre Dame just beat. That was a good game, though. That team's pretty good, Mike.
It is good. They shuck his quarterback's good quarterback. And they play Cal and then they play Louisville on October 19th. So Florida State, that all of a sudden, that turns out just to be a bad game. Duke, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, and Syracuse. So they don't even play Clemson in the regular season. So I think you're right. And get by Louisville, and they get a good shot.
Indiana's had a nice little season, Mike.
Yeah.
In Indiana?
Yeah.
They sure have.
Yeah.
They sure have.
I mean, 5-0.
Illinois?
5-0.
Illinois?
Yeah, Illinois has been good. They have.
Well, but like Indiana, they've been down for such a long time. Then you come over, you hire Kurt Signetti, who comes over from James Madison, and you don't know for sure he's going to turn it around. And here we are, 5-0, first year in.
Yeah.
I mean, Illinois and Indiana and Illinois, 23 and 24, both ranked.
Mm-hmm.
And when was the last time they were both ranked in the top 25?
It's been a while, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while.
Mike, Jalen Milroe, is it crazy to say, we'll see how this year ends, but let's say it ends with them running the table, making it to the championship game, whether they win or not, I don't think really matters for the purpose of this question. Is it crazy to say he's a more talented quarterback than Jalen Hurts or Tua?
He's a better athletically.
Yeah,
than those two.
Where I'm headed is I think he has a chance to be the best Alabama quarterback of all time if he can pull this off.
I think the best passer of those three is Tua.
Right.
The runner is Jalen with his size, and Milroe can do them both pretty well. I mean that's not a false statement you're making. He very well could be. Tua, like I said, Tua is definitely the best passer, but you don't know with his injury history, what the future is for him. Obviously, he's going to try and come back. But yeah, boy, what a game Milroe had. Oh my God. I mean, what a tale of two halves.
Amazing.
In that game.
Yes.
I mean, and for Alabama, I mean, 3 of their DBs were true freshmen. Ryan Williams, a true freshman wide receiver. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of talent and young that they have. I mean, it's a great comeback by Georgia in the second half. That's actually taken the lead 34-33. That was stunning with a couple of minutes to go. But boy, oh boy, I mean, and so many people think, oh, this is what's wrong with 12 teams. They weren't playing for one's in and one's out. They're both going to be in. Doesn't matter to me. I hope they play again. I mean, that was a great game.
Right,
I hope the hell they play again.
Every week I take that game.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope they play for the SEC championship, and then I hope they meet the playoffs. Hope we get 3 games like that. I'll take it.
Right. Billy and Mikey A only wanted it twice. I mean, yeah. I'll take it every week. I'm with you.
3 times a little too much.
Nah.
Absolutely.
Never enough. Yep.
Oh,
Mike, I said incredible. I said the Georgia team in the second half might be the best team in the country.
Well, I mean, would it be better than the Alabama team in the first half?
I don't know.
It seems to be those. You got to put Texas in there with them, right? Do you put Ohio State in there with them as well?
I think you have to, right?
Because Alabama, Texas, Georgia, Ohio State,
Penn State. Yeah, I know. I don't
know why. Yeah. I don't know why I keep feeling like they need to prove it, because that for the last few years we've put them in with Michigan and Ohio State and they've fallen short. So we're waiting for Penn State to break through, right, and be up there. And now add Oregon to the mix, add possibly USC to the mix. All Big Ten in the Big Ten conference now. So Penn State to me is still kind of in the overall. Prove it. I mean, they're 4-0, they're undefeated, so they've proved it each game. But overall, make a mark in the Big Ten.
Yeah, what you don't trust there is James Franklin. I mean, that's what they have USC coming up in a couple of weeks, and then they play Ohio State, and you just have the feeling he's going to lose one of those games.
Listen, and he can take care of it. I mean, those are two teams to take care of on the field. You're matching up head to head, so it's you get to prove it. You get to prove it.
Mike, what do you make of? So we played the sound. We talked about it. Antonio Pierce, the Raiders head coach, saying players were making business decisions. We're going to make business decisions. I guess now we know the player he was talking about and the business decisions that they're going to make, and it's Devante Adams. What do you make of that situation?
Well, I mean, Antonio Pierce is a former player, former linebacker, which again, he's normally the leader of the defense, the guy who makes the calls on the defense. And I don't think that Antonio Pierce has switched over to the diplomatic coach answers, and he is just going full barrel.
Let's hope he stays there, Mike. Yes.
I don't know if it's anything that he called Max by name and Devante by number. Remember when Devante in the Netflix thing, Receivers, said on the sideline, a game he was getting hit, he said, I need to get the F out of here. I'm going to get effing killed here. And Antonio Pierce was asked about the quotes, and he said, hey, it is what it is. You can't erase those quotes. I mean, it just seems like, Antonio Pierce is just done with him. And it's the best player on the offense. Max Crosby is the best player on defense. It's a great player who you owe a lot of money to. Now there's no more guaranteed money starting next year. But if you hold on to him for this year and don't trade him and then cut him in the offseason, it's $44 million dead cap money that you're gonna have to pay. So yeah, I think Antonio Pierce, and I've always said, be careful how a coach or a player talks in a locker room, because then you bring more attention to a situation. Now, this was always a situation that was going to get a lot of attention, but not only is Devante, will he get asked about it, Antonio will get asked about it, but teammates will start getting asked about it. As you're trying to prepare for another game,
right?
You're getting asked about, it's kind of a distraction.
The Jets have to go all in, right? Like, you're all in on Aaron Rodgers. The Jets have to give the Raiders whatever the Raiders need to get Devante Adams.
I mean, it's like it'll cost them a second-round pick and more. I said the Jets could be less interested in draft picks now, and because you're right. I mean, they have a window of this year and maybe next year.
Right.
That's it. If this doesn't work out to a Super Bowl, then it was a failed move. So you have to, if you've gone all in, you have to go all in times two. Devante's money isn't guaranteed after this year. He'll want a restructured deal to get some guarantee, but that's fine. So I would, I mean, you would think they would go balls out for him to add to the Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams and Lazard.
It makes Williams your number 2. I mean, it makes Williams your number 3. I mean, actually.
Yeah. Lazard would be off the field.
Correct.
Unless you're in 4 wide.
Yes.
Williams would be 3.
Yes.
And Devante would be 1 and Garrett would be 2. Yeah. I mean that, but you and then you got, the 2 backs and you got a good defense. So, I mean, and I heard people saying, well, Mark Davis won't want to trade him within the conference. Listen, you get the best deal you can for him, right? I mean, you got to make a business decision now. You're done with him, so you have to get the best deal you can get for him. If that's with the Jets, it's with the Jets. If it's someone else, it's with someone else. You worry about your team. You don't worry about Devante Adams if you're going to trade him.
Selfishly, like, if you're Joe Douglas or Robert Saleh, you need him, right? Because if this whole experiment doesn't work and you had the option there and you didn't go for it, you may be out of a job. But also, if you go for him and you mortgage your future and it doesn't work with him, you also may be out of a job.
Well, that's exact. But you have him. You have him, and you've loaded up for him. Get more. I mean, because if it doesn't work without Devante Adams, everybody's gone. If it doesn't work with Devante Adams, everybody's gone. So why not give yourself the better chance?
Right,
Devante Adams on your team.
Right, he gives you a much better chance of getting the job done.
Yes.
Or simply keeping yours.
Or simply he gives you the best chance of keeping your job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
There's no point in stockpiling draft picks you'll never get to use.
No, it's exactly right.
And if you do use them, you'll use them on the wrong guy. I mean,
Well, yeah. Mike, you said they're not going to want to trade him in the conference. And how much does that line move for in the division? Because it sounds like everybody wants the Chiefs to make the move to get Devante Adams with all of their injuries, like Rashee Rice.
They won't trade. They won't trade him within the division.
Is there a line? Is it like you'll get a second-round pick from the Jets, but the Chiefs will give you a first-round pick? Do you do it then?
I don't think you want to, within your division, make the best team better. And certainly Kansas City knows, and now unless they're desperate for him, but they've won after losing receivers before, see Tyreek Hill, so that they can probably think they can do it again and not give up a first rounder for him. And I don't think they would give up a first rounder for him. But yeah, I do not think they'll trade him within the division. Within the conference, so what?
Right.
Within the conference. But now, would it be, if you get the same deal, an equal deal with somebody in the NFC, I'd ship them to the NFC then. Just keep them out of the AFC, even though the Raiders aren't going to be in it this year. There's a lot that goes into it. But the bottom line is you look for the best deal that you could get if you're done with a player.
As we're taping this, Diana Rossini just tweeted out that the Steelers are in contact with Devante Adams people. But Mike, if you're the Raiders, you just need to get one team to offer you a first-round pick because you know the Jets are going to match it. Like, as we just discussed, they have no choice. They have to make the moves to give themselves the best chance to keep their jobs.
What picks do the Jets have, though? I'm not up on what picks. They have all of them. Yeah, listen, you're right. All you need is one team to start it and then everybody else to jump in. We know Pittsburgh was in it on the Brandon Ayuk deal when it looked like he might be leaving San Francisco. And Pittsburgh is playing some ball right now. So, I mean, you have George Pickens and you have Freiermuth, the tight end. I mean, that's really all you have, and a hell of a running game and a hell of a defense. So give yourself a big-time receiver in Devante Adams. I think the Steelers absolutely should go all in for Devante Adams.
It's going to be interesting to see. Mike, Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, can that relationship be repaired?
Well, not if they don't make the playoffs or have an early exit in the playoffs. I think that'll be it, and we know who's going to go. You're paying one guy, $55 million a year. You're not paying your coach that. So we know a change will be made if they don't make the playoffs or have another early exit in the play. It's a team that was in the Super Bowl, 3 years ago?
Yes.
I mean, a team that was 10-1 after 11 games last year.
Mike, they were a play away from beating the Chiefs. I mean,
yes. I talk about big team fall hard. I mean, it's amazing. They're on their third O coordinator, third D coordinator in 3 years. Yeah. I mean, I know they lost Kelsey, and Lane Johnson getting hurt doesn't help them, with the O-line. But Saquon Barkley, outside of Derrick Henry, has been one of the best pickups in the offseason. He's third in the league in rushing. Derrick Henry's first. So much for, older backs, not doing well. The defensive interior line, Jalen Carter's playing some ball without question. But yeah, I mean, this team better make a run or I have a feeling, and I never like seeing anybody get fired, but it's part of the business. That I think there would be a change.
Mike, the Miami Dolphins have been one of the most exciting teams to watch since Tyreek Hill and all that, but now they're hard to look at. Who's kind of at fault for this? Is it Mike McDaniel for not being able to adjust without Tua, or is it on like the GM for not having somebody besides Skylar Thompson to come in?
Well, I mean, we've seen other teams be able to kind of excel without their starting quarterback. Matt LaFleur had Malik Willis, who was given up on in Tennessee, go 2-0.
Shane Steichen.
Pardon me?
Joe Flacco, Colts.
Joe Flacco with the Colts, yeah, getting the win. So you have coaches who talk about fitting players into systems, and we talk about that. It's been the knock on Brock Purdy, who's going to get paid and should get paid, is, well, he's a seventh rounder, he's a system quarterback. Well, you know what? He's a successful quarterback as well. And you talk about a backup being able to come in and fit in. And the job of a backup quarterback, unless he's in for the whole season, is to keep your team's head above water until the starter gets back. Now, oddly enough, Malik Willis is 2-0 and Jordan Love is 0-2. So Malik Willis did his job. A couple of years ago when Dak got hurt in the opening game, missed 5 games, Cooper Rush went 4-1. I mean, he kept the team's head above water. That's the job of a backup. So like anything else, Stu, it's not one thing. It's the talent you bring in to be the backup, and it's the system that the coach has. Now, Tyler Huntley was only barely been there. So even as he said, as I learn more of the offense, I'll be able to do more of the offense. But we've seen other backups step in and get the job done in the system that's being played. So I think there has to be a little bit of blame that goes around.
To your credit, Mike, and I think Dominique Foxworth did it better than I've seen other people do it. And you would view the game this way differently than the way I would, or Stugotz would, or even Mikey would, right? Because you watch the film, you watch the tape, and he did a good job of illustrating they're running the exact same plays that they ran with Tua. And Tyler Huntley just doesn't have the confidence to make the throws. He doesn't have the relationship with Tyreek Hill. He doesn't know when to release it. So he's playing, as someone who's been brought in for a week, a little more conservatively than someone who's familiar with the system would normally do. Now, then I guess that would have you ask, because people will say, well, maybe people have figured out, Mike McDaniel, which is not the case. He's just running the same plays. But I guess then as a coach, is it on him to almost bring it down a notch or two, knowing this is the situation when you're plugging in a new quarterback?
So it's on the coach. Now, a lot depends on the situation. Tyler Huntley, he was preparing all week to be the starter. So the quarterback that's going to be the starter, they get the bulk of the reps and they are in on the game plan. And basically what you figure out between head coach, coordinator, if there is one, or if head coach calling the plays, whatever the situation may be for any team, you get together with said quarterback and you go over the plays that quarterback is comfortable with. And he may not be as comfortable with the same plays Tua is comfortable with. So that's what you take care of during the week. You kind of design the plays or the plays that you have in your playbook around the quarterback that you have quarterbacking the team. I guarantee you the playbook is different with Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco. You can't have, while that's the biggest quarterback room in the league, you can't have 2 more different quarterbacks. So you're not going to call the same plays you call for Anthony Richardson for Joe Flacco. Just not going to happen. And that's on a big scale. So the scale goes down a little bit as quarterbacks are closer in movement ability and talent ability of where you would tweak a game plan to the traits of that quarterback. So yes, that definitely can fall on the coach.
Mike, we'll get you out of here in a second. Gojo and Golic, check it out on the DraftKings Network, wherever you get your podcast. They'll be on the Steelers-Cowboys game coming up this weekend. Man, that brings me back to a better time. Oh, my God, does that game bring me back to a better and younger time and a better looking time, I might add, for me. But Mike, Jayden Daniels, the poise. It's not so much the numbers, the stats.
No.
It just looks like he's been playing in the NFL for 15 years. It's insane, Mike.
You are 1,000% correct. Because the numbers, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's run the ball. He's averaging a little under 5 yards a carry on 46 carries. So the number, you don't go wow with the numbers, but you go wow with the poise. Yeah. You go wow with the, boy, does he have command of this offense. And that was said from early on in training camp that, wow, he's really got command of this offense. And that's what I look for in a young quarterback. It's not always the stats. It's will he stay, especially a guy with legs like Jayden, will he stay in the pocket long enough, or will he have jittery feet and leave the pocket before he should? When he leaves the pocket, is he looking to pass down the field first, or if it's man coverage and there's space to run, will he take off and run right away? Can he declare that in an instant? And he's making all the, is he going through his procedures, 1, 2, 3? Is he going to his check down? Is he going to his check down too early? Is he letting a chance for the routes to develop down the field? And this was supposedly kind of a suspect offensive line, but they've come together pretty well with some new pieces. He's been sacked 9 times, but his poise, Stu, you're right. His poise has been incredible. His command of the offense is incredible. And once Dan Quinn could get that defense dialed in, they won't have to, put up 30 and 40 points a game. Now, I know they held the Cardinals to 14 points and put up 42, but it seems like with their defense is a little bit inconsistent, that they're going to have to outscore, and it could be higher scoring games for them. But he has been just money.
Yeah, he's been amazing. Golic, Gojo and Golic, 8 to 10 every day on the DraftKings Network, wherever you get your podcast. Steelers, Cowboys over the weekend. Mike, we appreciate it. You might want to pull a hammy because the BCS is coming next week. Yep.
I feel a cold coming on.
You okay?
Get better soon.
I feel I'll lose my voice.
Well, listen, it's good you're getting it now because the BCS is still a week away. Yeah, get it out of your system.
7 days to recover.
Right. Yeah.
Damn, I blew that one, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You're supposed to get sick like next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Say hi to Tomlin for us, okay? And get him on the show, all right? Let's go.
There you go. Okay.
How do you feel, by the way, about college football? Because I was telling Dan the other day, you have 17-year-olds playing against 27-year-olds, and yet college football for me has never been more entertaining.
Yeah, no, listen, it is the way it is right now, but I am amazed by that every week. I mean, first off, you could argue the 2 best receivers in college football are 17 years old.
Crazy.
The kid wearing number 4 at Ohio State and the kid we saw at Alabama last weekend, right?
Yep.
But it is odd. Every game I watch every week, there's always like, he's 25, he's 26. I'm like, what? Man, if I got to play college football and at 25 or 26, I guarantee I would have been picked up another round or 2 earlier. Like, guaranteed. It is a little odd that way, but college is really changing. And, college football is coming down to it's the Big Ten and the SEC. That's all it is.
Yep.
Who the hell cares about anybody else? Are any of them any good? I don't think so.
Right.
You got to prove it to me. It's going to be one of the teams from those two conferences.
And of course, you meant Notre Dame too, right? I didn't, I'm just trying to.
I didn't know. Right? Notre Dame is not in that class. You can't lose like to a 2-loss Northern Illinois team at home and look crappy against Miami of Ohio and be in the class of the good Big Ten or SEC teams right now. Sorry, I can't do that.
All right, I just didn't want you to rip Notre Dame because you're the home of Notre Dame.
I wasn't ripping them. I'm just calling it the way it is. Okay. That's just the way it is right now.
I was just trying to help you out. That's all. BFD with Mike Florio, the Unbuttoned podcast as well. Football Night in America, Sunday Night Football. Some really good games this week on the NFL schedule, Chris. But I want to ask you this because I made this comment the other day. People looked at me like I was crazy. Is it fair to say, even though they're 2-2, and perhaps I'm being prisoner of the moment because they blew out the Buffalo Bills, but is it fair to say the Baltimore Ravens might be the best team in the NFL?
I don't think it's crazy to say that. I mean, I understand what you're saying there. And again, the Vikings have played the best football through 4 weeks, right? So I don't think that's in doubt. But when you see the Ravens at their best, I go, their best is as good as anybody else my eye looks at, right? So I think they're in that conversation. And hopefully they figured something out here again. That's the big thing. Continue to run the ball like they have 2 weeks in a row. This might be the week where we finally see Lamar Jackson throw for 375 because the Bengals can't stop the run, and I guarantee they're going to go, we're going to lose definitely if we don't slow down Derrick Henry in the run game. So let's take our chances with maybe losing in the pass game. I think that game's going to be a shootout. I do because I think the Bengals offense is real damn good too, but I don't think what you're saying is crazy. I wouldn't say they're the best team. I wouldn't say that, but I think that at their best, they're certainly in that conversation.
So you think the Vikings so far through 4 games have been the best team in the NFL? It's hard to argue. I mean,
it's every week. It's perfect execution, explosive plays, running and throwing on the offensive side of the ball, and brilliant game plans and turnovers by the defense every week. So they've played the best. Now, do I think their talent level is the best and all of that? No, I'm not saying that, right? But either way, they've played the cleanest and the most consistent through 4 weeks, and I don't think there's much arguing there.
What'd you make of the Devante Adams news, and where do you think Devante Adams should go?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, I think everybody saw this. Teams called the Raiders all offseason to trade for Devante Adams.
Yes.
And why they didn't trade him, I don't know. Did they think they were in the Super Bowl window or something? Because, like, you're not in the Super Bowl window in Las Vegas Raiders. Thank you. News break. So, and now that they want to trade him now, they're going to get way less than what they would have got if they traded him in the offseason. I mean, in the offseason, it could have been multiple second-round picks and other picks. Now it's like, wait, we're going to get him for 9 games, and then we don't know if we're going to have him next year, and he's got a huge cap number, and we don't necessarily, let's see if we want to sign him to an extension. So that's going to lower the value, certainly. But I'm not shocked by this at all. And, as far as where to go and what makes sense.
Yeah. I know, it's tough.
Kansas City, I just won. Like, we know Kansas City needs a receiver.
Yep.
Okay. But, like, are they going to, the arch rival? The Raiders going to trade it to their longtime arch rival?
I can't see that happening, Chris.
That.
Yeah,
right. Exactly right. Okay. The Jets, we all look at that. The Jets are already in a drama session up here because Garrett Wilson's already unhappy because, I've told you a million times, Aaron Rodgers wants to throw 74 slants every game. So, now he's going to not throw it to Garrett Wilson and throw more to Devante Adams? I mean, they're just asking for problems of that. Dallas isn't good enough or in a Super Bowl window to merit. Why would you trade for Devante Adams? You guys don't have enough money, and you need picks to build your team for the future. Right? Is there any other team that's an obvious out there that I'm missing off the top of my head? I feel like there was one more team that's
maybe Washington.
Oh, Washington. That I could see being a possibility. That is one that I look at to be like, that's very real. You can maybe build for the future with that guy. They might be okay paying him money next year and doing that. He fits their scheme of kind of short to intermediate passing game. They are better than I expect. Like, Washington's the one to me that I think makes the most sense when you take on both sides and what's going on there.
When does Jaden Daniels start looking like a rookie, Chris Sims?
Never.
I don't know. I know we hit on it last week, right? The fact that he's in the same offense as college football, I think, is a great advantage. He is a superior talent, as you both are seeing. His decision-making is really damn good, and that's partly because, hey, they're coaching him good, and he's comfortable in the offense, right? The other thing is his demeanor, his calmness is remarkable for somebody his age. And I think I said this to you guys last week. Either way, I said it on my podcast this week. Washington can run the ball. I give Cliff Kingsbury a lot of credit because he went back to the lab and was like, wait, I got to be more than just this Red Raider spread offense, right? I got to do something more. Everybody catches on to my offense every year. And there are more formations, and they are running the ball on just about everybody they play. So I don't think it's going to fall off totally, Billy. I don't think it's going to be like, oh man, now he's throwing 2 interceptions a game and now he's looking like the rookie we thought he would. He's going to make mistakes. I get that. But I think it's going to still stay pretty damn consistently good. I don't think it's going to stay to the level it is right now because it's remarkably good right now. But I don't see a big fall off, Billy.
Chris, just going back to Devante for a second, just 2 teams.
Yeah.
What do you think about Buffalo? Because a lot of people...
Buffalo's another one.
Yes, right. But a lot of people feel like Josh Allen's better off without having a true number 1 wide receiver. I mean...
I don't agree with that. Right. I don't agree with that. The argument is Stephon Diggs a number 1 receiver,
sure,
right? That's
right.
The argument. I mean, he went to a new team, and he's the number 2 receiver right away. So there we go. Right. Again, that's part of the reason of, wait, you're complaining, but you're not a number 1. You're not a superstar. Nobody's doubling you. We can't just line you upside and just go beat that guy. But you act like you want the ball all the time and do that, which we all know. That's the facts of the matter. Stephon Diggs did that in Minnesota and Buffalo. I'm not telling anything that's not the truth there. Right. So no, he would be better off with the number 1. He definitely would be. And I worry about that aspect for the Bills. I'm not sold on the Bills offense yet. I'm sold on one guy that's one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life, and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But when they play high-quality defenses like we saw last week, and all of a sudden they can't run the ball a little bit, you see and go, oh, wait, now they can't rely on the pass game because it's 2 tight ends and, other guys that are solid but not game breakers that way. So that'd be one that I certainly could think would be a possibility too. Washington, Buffalo, those are the 2 top ones, Stugotz.
I almost feel like the Jets have to do it just because they're all in with Aaron Rodgers. Like these guys like Salah and Joe Douglas, their jobs are on the line here this season. And if you're going to go all in on Aaron and Aaron wants Devante Adams, you kind of have to do what you have to do to get Devante Adams, right?
I mean, they've obviously listened to Aaron Rodgers a lot, right? I mean, come on. Robert Saleh made a comment about the cadence on Sunday, and I guarantee Aaron Rodgers talked to him right after he made that comment or the next morning, and the next day he's like, oh, there's no problem with the cadence. Everything's good. Rodgers told me it's all good, so I'm listening. He's good. It's all good. I mean, yeah, he's running the organization in a lot of ways right now because of all the things you said. It's only a year or two they're going to have him. They want to make it work. So, I'm certainly not saying it's not a real possibility.
Sure.
I'm just saying I'd be careful if I were the Jets because you saw Garrett Wilson's comments, right, this week. He's going, our offense doesn't do anything. I watch other offenses. If I did a deep dive into the Denver defense in that game last week against the Jets, right? Aaron Rodgers, first off, did not play well. I mean, it was not good.
He was awful.
Period.
Yes.
It was bad. And then if I was Garrett Wilson coming away from that game, I would have been like, I don't think my quarterback likes me. I would think the same thing. He has 6 or 7 plays where I know that offense. He is the first read, and he's open. And Aaron Rodgers barely gives him a look and goes to somebody else. I thought that was very weird in my studies this week.
Billy, I love the idea of quarterbacks playing favorites, guys they like, guys they don't like.
They do.
They definitely do. 100%.
Wait, hold on.
Thank you, Billy.
Between us,
yes.
Just between us, friends, Chris. Who's someone you liked and who's someone you didn't like?
Joey Galloway, I had a connection with, right? We spent so much time on and off the field and watching football and Monday Night Football to where in any big moment, I always felt really comfortable with him, right? So I favored him. Oh, wait, this guy's got the same coverage as that guy. I mean, one, it's Joey Galloway and he runs 4-1. And 2, I've got the most amount of reps with him and feel the best about him and reading his body language and how we'll run the route and all that. So that would be one for sure. I don't have one that's glaring that I would say that jumps out to me where I go, I didn't like it. There was guys through times, right, where it took more to read their body language and how they came out of breaks and stuff like that. So there was a few guys that way, but nobody that's popping to me that I just go, oh, I don't like throwing to him. I'm going to, not go that way. But that does happen. And I didn't play enough in the NFL for it to probably happen to me quite to the extent that it would to a guy that plays a long time.
I think me and Billy are thinking about a guy you just didn't like off the field, and it didn't matter how wide open he wasn't getting the ball from Chris Sims.
Yeah. Who'd you hate? Yeah, who'd you hate the most?
I was never a hate guy. I mean, gosh, my teammates, I would tell you.
Yeah, but listen, your dad definitely favored Phil McConkey and Mark Bavaro. There's no question about it. He did.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely Mark Bavaro. That I would tell you for sure. 100%. The McConkey, I think there was definitely a little bit of a comfort level there. But I don't know if I want to say he favored him. He had guys like Lionel Manuel, right? Who was pretty damn good, and I think he had a good connection with as well. But Bavaro definitely got in the trust tree. I know. I'm trying to think of somebody out there that I'm missing, and to give you guys a real honest answer here.
Well, the more interesting thing is, Chris, no, that's okay if you think of it, but the more interesting thing is you are flatly telling us it happens. It happens in the end.
100%. 100%. Yes. Yes. And sometimes to me, some of the veteran quarterbacks play favorites too much because they're like, oh, he runs this route exactly like I always like it. Oh my gosh. So I'm always going to throw to him for the 4-yard gain. And I want to be like, okay, yeah, so what? This guy over here is not as good as it, but when he catches it, it's going to be a 40-yard gain. But I trust him that the Pythagorean theorem will be exactly correct when he puts his foot on the toe and comes out. And it's like some of that gets old on me with some of the veteran quarterbacks.
We saw some of that. Like Brady said something along those lines earlier this season, right? Where he would say, like, there's times that they would send out guys and I just didn't think that they prepped the right way. I wouldn't even look at them. So it basically at times he was playing 10 on 11 because he just wouldn't even look at guys.
Yeah, there is that aspect, definitely. Like, I think he was talking about it in the Cowboys game, right?
Yes.
The receiver fell, and Dak Prescott threw the interception, and he just said, if that guy was back in the game with me later, I would, hesitate throwing the ball with him because, I don't trust him. I don't trust he's going to stay on the feet or run the route the right way. Listen, if the guy is, like, on the regularly doing dumb crap and stuff like that, I get it. But I think sometimes it's a little too, like, here's Alan Lazard, here's Garrett Wilson. One guy runs 4.3 and could be a superstar. The other guy is a third receiver in the NFL, but he breaks the slant route off at exactly the right angle I like every time. And I want to go, yeah, this guy's still running a good slant route, and he's way more dangerous. Like, that's the stuff I don't get, and that's what I mean by
it's so funny because he definitely favors Lazard. Like, now that I think about it, yes,
100%.
If we do our football trip we were talking about last week with you, or we sit in the 400s with you at a game, we do the whole thing, we do it right, we do the tailgate, and we're playing your QB. I'm a receiver. Mikey's a receiver. Stugotz is a receiver. We're playing against another team in the parking lot. Who are we favoring? Who are we looking at here?
Oh, damn. I mean, I've never really seen you do much, but I think it's going to be you, Billy. I think it is.
Wow.
I'll take it.
You can you run it up the middle of the goal line parking lot? Because that's the only thing Mikey A is going to be good at is goal line running formation. Who's he going to run away from?
No one.
Exactly. No one.
Yes.
Stugotz has probably got a little quickness, but who wants to throw a short little quick route in the parking lot?
Aaron Rodgers.
We want to go for the glory, right? We want to, cheers with a beer in the hand in the end zone. I'm going to Billy the Kid on this one for sure.
So you have me. You have.
Well, plus he's got the same haircut as me. He likes me so much now he's starting to cut his hair like me.
You're right.
Next week, buttons.
Yep. And the week after that, dye it blonde, okay? If you don't mind, that'd be great.
I noticed Chris went back to the jacket, and I wasn't sure what was going on Sunday night. I saw there was a jacket on again.
Oh, I know. Well, I'm going to wear a jacket every now and then. And, every now and then our uncool older people that run our show tell me how to dress, and I want to be like, you're uncool and don't know how to dress. Why are you telling me how to dress? But I just got to listen to it and say, yep, okay, sure.
Chris, now that we've bonded and we've admitted that we're on the same wavelength, talk me off the ledge. Tell me the sky is not falling in Miami.
Oh, it's falling. It's falling. Sorry.
What a good friend you are, Sam.
Hurricane Helen is literally dropping on you guys. Sorry. I mean, I don't mean to be insensitive there by any. I'm just being funny.
That's okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think you disagree with me. I just was talking about this game a few minutes ago. I mean, you guys look like you're in shell shock ever since that injury, ever since it happened. It's like the whole team gave up in belief and fight and everything. And that worries me. Yeah, I mean, I'm picking the Patriots this week because I'm a little bit like, I got to see the Dolphins fight and try to win the game and do it first before I pick them. And gritty, ugly game just sounds like Patriots, Jacoby Brissett, Gerard Mayo type of win. Now, it stinks you guys lost Skylar Thompson because I do think, like, no one's going to run the offense like Tua, but Skylar at least could, like, hey, he's been there. He's had reps in the offense, right? So he could take advantage of some of the tricks that Mike McDaniel has. With a new guy like Tyler Huntley or somebody else, it's going to take a little time. We see, the motions, the shifts, all that. There's a magic. There's a feel. There's repetition that goes into making that work that Tua was so good at. So they miss him there. And it gets back to like a big thing I think we talked about before the year. And Mike McDaniel has talked about it. They're not the best ugly game. Oh, it's not a free flying flag football 7-on-7 game. If it's not that, can they win it? They were just trying to find their way in that department. And now they're like thrusted into it. And I don't think they've, perfected that by any stretch of the imagination. So, yeah, I think it's big trouble down there in Miami.
Teams have eliminated Tyreek Hill, and that could be either they figured things out or maybe his knee, quote unquote, procedure that he had in the offseason that we found out during the, arrest video, maybe was more than just a procedure. Like something's going on there.
No, but Billy, I think what Chris is saying is if you're going to be Kyle Shanahan, if you're going to be one of those coaches, you need to figure out a different game plan for Tyreek Hill when Tua's out and different ways to get him the ball, right?
Exactly right. I mean, you saw the Rams last week. They got nobody on offense. So, wait, they beat the 49ers, right? I mean, he came up with a game plan, McVay, and worked it out. We've seen the 49ers get through injuries before and work it out. Oh, we got to play this way this week. So what? So be it. Well, this is what we got to do this week. That's what we got to see from Miami. Again, they've showed that they're a front-running football team to a degree. And I'm not trying to say I don't think anybody else has said. They want to be, hey, it's high-flying, the game's loose, and it's 35-24, and we're just going to keep scoring like this. Yeah, that's all great. But then all of a sudden, it's like, wait, hold on, it's 13-10, it's tough, it's physical, and they don't seem to always answer the bell in those moments. So, yeah, what can they get to? Or is it always just like, hey, if we can't get the ball to Tyreek Hill in space, we can't win a game? Tyreek's fine, Billy. I don't think there's anything physically wrong with him. I think it's just the ripple effects of everything that's going on with the football team right now that's really affecting him, let alone it's year 3 with Mike McDaniel in this offense. Everybody in football has stolen plays from them, right? Everybody in football has studied them, right? And so defenses are very used to some of the things they do. And at some point, you got to just go, like the 49ers and what Stugotz is saying, it's like, hey, tricks are cool, but at some point, you just got to go, hey, here's the fucking ball up the middle, smash them, and let's run for 7 or 8. And that's what good teams can do, too. And the Dolphins have not shown the capability of doing that.
The Colts did it mid-game. Like, the game plan for Richardson and Flacco have to be – and it also reminds me, Chris, of – was it the 91 Giants, your dad's team, where they had one of the best offenses in the NFL? Your dad got hurt. Jeff Hostetler came in. And Parcells, being the great coach that he was, he changed the entire game plan and just said, here, we're going to hand it off 40 times a game.
Exactly right. Yeah, my dad is 1990, the year they won the Super Bowl. He was the number 1 rated quarterback in football through 3 weeks of the season. Bruce Smith fell on his foot. They broke his foot, right? He's out for the year. And Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick said, hey, wait, our defense is good. Our O-line's good. We got Otis Anderson. Let's just chew up the clock and run the fucking ball all day. And we'll play D and we'll win games 15-12 and 15-13 and hold the ball for 9 minutes in the Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, great teams have versatility. Right? They can go, wait, this week we got to play like this. Next week we got to play this team. Ooh, we might have to play like that. And we don't see that from the Dolphins right now.
Your dad is still brooding over that injury, right? Because he was going to have the best offensive season he's ever had, right? He's still
it was going to be up there.
Yeah,
that's one where, my dad's cool and he's always realistic, right? And yeah, it'd be, if he won that Super Bowl and was playing, he'd probably be in the Hall of Fame. Right? At the same time, he totally gives credit to Jeff Hostetler always, no matter where he goes. And he'll say things like, hey, I don't know if I was the starting quarterback, if we could have won 3 straight games in the playoffs like he did. He says it, because again, hey, it's a matchup league. Nothing's given. They had to play the Bears, the great 49er team that was in a 3-peat, right? And then the Bills and all that. So, he certainly respects and is grateful for what Jeff Hostetler did in bringing home the Super Bowl.
He should be in the Hall of Fame regardless. Kansas City Chiefs, Chris, this is interesting. They're 4-0. They don't have a number 1 wide receiver. Running back is hurt. They keep winning football games. Spagnuolo is a genius. He is great. My sense is he'll get another head coaching opportunity maybe after this season. But and I know the Chiefs have done it with defense the last 2 years, back-to-back Super Bowl championships. If the offense doesn't find its way, can this team win the Super Bowl playing this way?
I'm never going to count them out.
I know.
Because I'm never, last year taught me that. Like, again, we've never seen that before in the history of football. I think when time goes by, people are going to realize what the Chiefs did last year. Played mediocre football, got to the playoffs, and flipped a switch. And played A+ football.
Yes.
That doesn't happen. I've never seen a team do that in my life. So I'll never count them out from that in that regard. But I'm a little worried about them. Definitely. I mean, you said it. They are clearly a defensive football team. The defense wins the game for them every single week. I mean, it's 4-0. They haven't really played a good game yet. I mean, as a complete team.
Right.
I mean, you can look at it in a lot of ways and go, man, I mean, how many times have they outplayed the team they actually beat this year? I'm not sure. I thought the Bengals outplayed them. I mean, you could have made a case for the Falcons, certainly, right?
Chris, they've won their 4 games by 25 total points. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. It ain't pretty, but they're the ultimate get-it-done football team. They are that. They have Mahomes, so they always believe if they just stay close, he'll make a big drive in the end of the game to win it. So, again, I do think they need more offense, 100%. And I would expect them to be a team that would dabble in the trade market for a wide receiver as we go here. I think it's a tough game for them this week with the Saints. I do. I'm picking the Saints to pick the upset here.
Really?
Because Yeah, the Chiefs, first off, I don't think are going to be able to run the ball on them consistently on the Saints defense. I don't think they have enough weapons in the pass game against a good, creative, aggressive defense in the Saints, where I think they're going to give them problems. And, you play overly aggressive against the Saints offense. The Saints outplayed the Falcons last week. They should have won that game. And if you overplay them, you better be careful playing that run game, because Rashid Shaheed and Olave will run by you and they will throw the ball down the field. Yeah, I think this is like a big game for the Saints. I'm going to say they're due. They're a little desperate, and the Chiefs are probably floating on a little false confidence being 4-0 and not playing really that good. So I'm going Saints.
Interesting. PFT with Mike Florio, Unbuttoned Podcast, Football Night in America. You got the Steelers and the Cowboys coming up this week. We'll get you out of here in just a second. Bo Nix seems improved.
Yeah.
Like, I saw some steps last week where I can perhaps envision a day where Bo Nix is a very good quarterback in the NFL.
I think so. We talked about last week. He looked very good against Tampa Bay. Last week was tough. They're not great on offense, right? I mean, they're going to be a team that's going to be like, hey, we're just solid and consistent, all right? That's about as good as they're going to be. I don't expect them to ever be a top 10 offense in football this year. But, run the ball. He plays smart. That Jets D, you say what you want. It's still really damn good. You know that, Stugotz. They're super talented.
Yep.
Here's the surprise of the Broncos, because I deep dived that Jets-Broncos game this week. The Broncos defense is really awesome. I mean, it's really damn good. They got sneaky good pass rushers on the edge with Benito and Cooper, right? They're okay on the interior part of the defense. And when the kicker is, they're coached well by Vance Joseph, and I would argue they are in the conversation for one of the best secondaries in football. Wow. Surtain is an island shutdown guy. The other corner, Riley Moss, he's damn good out of Iowa. McMillan, the nickelback, is a damn good nickelback. P.J. Lockett's safety is phenomenal. So they're going to be tough from that standpoint to score a lot of points on, and that'll buy them time to continue to bring Bo Nix and add more offense and him get more comfortable. I'm not counting the Broncos out. I think they're going to be a pain in the ass, and of course they got Sean Payton. That's always going to make them tough.
Yep. Billy should ask this question, but I will ask it. Is Trevor Lawrence good?
Hey, I deep dived that last week too. I did. I had to. One, I have no doubt that Doug Peterson in his post-game press conference, when he said the players got to make plays, right? He was talking about Trevor Lawrence, and there's no doubt. Trevor Lawrence had 5 or 6 throws in that game that could have changed the game, won the game, that are inexcusable for somebody of his talent level to miss throws, right? And those are plays that could have jump-started them to win the game against Houston, maybe jump-start their season a little bit, and they're just not getting that from him right now. As I think I told you guys last week, he's got a strong arm. He's a great thrower. He can really throw it. We can go, woo, look at that spiral, and that thing is flying through the air. But he's not a great passer. Touch, timing, right, rhythm are things he's not great at, and right now he's off. I see him miss throws every game where I just go, no, you can't miss that. You can't. The guy's running a post route, nobody's in the screen for a touchdown. You can't miss it. The guy runs an out and up. He's going down the sideline, wide open, nobody's in the screen. You miss it. A 3rd and 10 out route. Hey, he's wide open. Damn, he threw it 7 yards over his head. That is definitely one of the issues with them right now. And if that doesn't get better, it's going to be disaster down there.
Get your thoughts on 2 quick games here. Bills-Texans. What do you think? I'm excited for this one. It's going to be fun.
I am too.
Yes.
I'm not a believer in the Bills' offense all the way yet. So that's my problem here. I'm going to pick the Texans. I think the Texans, one, will be able to stop the Bills' run game. And like we just talked about a few minutes ago, I don't think the Bills are talented enough a receiver to expose, the Texans in the secondary. The Texans can play some pass defense. They got some good corners. They got speed on the edge to where I think they'll corral Josh Allen. And, the Texans offense with C.J. Stroud, I think they're going to be able to move the ball on Buffalo. I would like to see the Texans run the ball a little bit more than they had, because then their play-action pass game becomes unstoppable. But no Von Miller. The Buffalo can't really play man-to-man. They like to play zone. I think Houston Texans will tear that apart. I'm taking Houston to win that game.
All right, and your game Sunday night, which brings me back to a time, brings all of us back to a time. Cowboys-Steelers met many times when I was growing up in the Super Bowl. What a great game you have Sunday night Dallas needs this one. Pittsburgh finally got their first loss. It's going to be interesting to see if they ever go to Russell Wilson. But what do you think here?
No, I mean it is. It's a classic matchup. My big thing here is: do I think can Dallas move the ball consistently on the Steelers' defense? I know the Steelers' defense is good. I'm not sure how good. They've played some, poor offenses to start the year that I think have inflated their stats. But I think at the end of the day, I do like the Steelers. I don't think they're going to let CeeDee Lamb go off, and that's the one guy you got to stop. There's not really another option in the pass game. Dak Prescott has been phenomenal, so he scares me, but they don't run the ball that well. And I do think without DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, I think Pittsburgh will be able to run the ball a little bit, and you'll get some one-on-one opportunities against the Dallas Cowboys defense, and that's where I think George Pickens and Justin Fields will make some connections. I like the Steelers to win that one.
What's the matter, Billy?
I'm sad. I'm sad at what's going on here.
Well, what happened?
Why?
Because, you answered 2 questions since then, but I'm still caught up on you. It feels like you're ready to break up with Trevor Lawrence. I feel like the spark is out, the love has died, and you're ready to move on. It's sad. It's devastating.
Love is blind in football, man. I don't give a damn.
No.
Love. I mean, we're watching football and we're talking like it is. I see his talent. I know he has more, and I don't think anything I'm saying there is ain't the truth. He's got to be better. He's got the ability to be a special quarterback, but yes, he has not put it all together that way. So we'll see where it goes. And the other thing too, Stugotz, I think your Jets have a real chance to beat Minnesota this week in London.
Wow.
Really?
Oh.
Wow.
Well, this is the week the quick, 97 slants and 97 flat routes will work. Right? Because Minnesota loves to show blitz. They drop out into zone or they blitz. And the quick passing game by Aaron Rodgers, that will be a problem for Minnesota in this one. And then, of course, I think your defense is damn good and can give Minnesota's offense problem. I picked the Jets to win in a close one. This was one of my upsets of the week.
Wow, I love that. I was getting on Aaron because, man, I have watched the Jets play that game for 40 fucking years, Chris. And we got Aaron Rodgers, and I never wanted to see that game again. And here I was last week watching the same game I've been watching for 40 years, and no accountability from Aaron. Like, none.
No.
It's everyone else's fault. No, that's on you, man.
I hear you. That's what bothers me, too. Definitely. I mean, it's funny. It's ironic, don't you think? But those are games that you felt like they would have won with Zach Wilson, right? Or it's like, they would have won.
Oh, my gosh, Chris. Come on, man. What are we doing?
It's hilarious. And now they got Aaron Rodgers, and they can't pull it out.
I think I agree with them. I mean,
you're longing for Zach Wilson. Now get out of here.
No, it's just weird. Those are the games they've won. Those ugly, horrible, no offensive games.
Zach Wilson was way better than Aaron at winning an ugly game. He was. Chris is right about this.
but Rodgers did not play good last week. He still doesn't let plays develop down the field. He doesn't throw the ball down the field. And if the first guy's not wide open, man, he gets uncomfortable in a hurry. So they got to push him a little bit. And they got to push the ball down the field. Denver just basically called their bluff in that game last week. They just said, we're going to put everybody at the line of scrimmage. They started the game with blitz 0, all-out blitz. Because they were like, you're not going to run the ball and you're not going to throw the ball 3 yards down the field all the way down. They took that away. They basically begged the Jets and said, you won't throw it deep. We know you won't. You don't like to because of your scheme. And Rodgers likes his completion percentage and touchdown to interception ratio, so he won't be aggressive throwing the ball down the field. Somebody's got to push his buttons a little there in that organization to be more aggressive.
All right, PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast as well. Football night in America, Steelers and Cowboys coming up. He's on college football as well. He's doing everything these days. He is Chris Sims. He is the man. He's too busy to go see his favorite baseball team play a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
I am, but it's all right. It's the price of doing business. And, I do everything and I talk to you guys, which is really, I do everything. It's really amazing what I do.
It's the best part of our week, buddy. We say that all the time.
Oh, that's the best. Tell Mikey off. Thanks for missing it. And Billy, it was good seeing you. It's so rare. You without the hat and then Stugotz with the hat so low, you can't even see his eyes. And, that makes me question what he was doing before the show, whether he's, totally all there mentally with us today.
You don't have to question. I was doing exactly what you think I was doing before the show.
Yeah. But you're headed to do now.
Red. I like it, Red. Sounds good.
It is time for this week's edition of Stu Ya Gotz, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. College football, week 6, 5-4-1 a week ago, 21-16-1 on the season. Not terrible. Blaine Gabbert. Here we go. Texas A&M taking on Missouri. Missouri undefeated. Texas A&M, they're playing well under Mike Elko. I am taking the Aggies here. Texas A&M wins. They cover. They win by 7 points at home. We go to Pitt, taking on NC, North Carolina. Taylor's North Carolina Tar Heels. Pitt is -3 at North Carolina. Buy it down to 2.5. Pitt wins. They cover. Pitt by 10 points on the road. Wisconsin, -13.5. They're taking on Purdue. Buy it down to 13. This is more a bet against Purdue than it is on Wisconsin. Purdue, terrible. Wisconsin wins. They cover. Wisconsin by 21 points at home. Ohio State taking on Iowa, -18. Ohio State wins and they cover. Ohio State by 24 points over the Hawkeyes. Iowa State, -13, taking on Baylor. Baylor, not very good. Iowa State, really good. Iowa State wins the game. They cover. Iowa State by 17 points over Baylor. The Gators take it on UCF. Gators getting 3 points at home. Incredible. Buy it up to 3.5. Gators going to win the game outright and cover. The Gators by 4 points at the Swamp. Duke +9 taking on Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech wins. Duke covers. Georgia Tech by 4 points over Duke. I'm going with Duke. Miami -10 at Cal. Buy it down to 9.5. Miami wins and they cover. The Canes by 17 points on the road. NFL Week 5, back-to-back 4-4 weeks. 16-16-1 on the season. Jeff Fisher, Commanders, -3.5, taking on the Browns. Buy it down to 3. Commanders win and they cover. Commanders by 10 points at home. Ravens, -2.5 at the Bengals. Ravens win. They cover. The Ravens by 8 points on the road. Broncos, -2.5, taking on the Raiders. Broncos win. They cover. The Broncos win by 14 points. Packers, -3 at the Rams. Packers win and they cover. The Packers win by 10 points on the road against Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Bears, -3.5, taking on the Panthers. The Bears, buy them down to 3. They win by 10. They beat the Panthers and they cover. And finally, a game that takes me back to a better time. Cowboys and Steelers. Oh, does that feel right? Cowboys are getting 3 points. They win the game outright. How about that? The Cowboys hand Mike Tomlin his second loss of the season, and they win by 7 points on the road at Pittsburgh. Those are the picks, everyone. Good luck.